everyone, it's Chloe here and I'm the owner, maker and creator of Imi Creations, and welcome to my channel. So today's video will actually be a continuation of my video where I discussed how to start creating digital patterns. And in that video I basically just talked about some of the steps and strategies and tips that I use to create my digital patterns. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link right here, but if you have already seen it and you are more interested in today's video, then definitely stay here to listen to what I have to say. But basically today's video is all about how to create successful pattern sales in your Etsy store or in your other e-commerce stores. So honestly, it took me a while to figure out a strategy or strategies that I thought worked for myself. So I thought I'll just share that with you, but just to keep in mind, some of these strategies may work for you and may not work for you, but I guess what I'm trying to say, it's worth giving it a try. But you know, I've been running my small business for over 1.5 years now, so some of these strategies have worked really well for me, which is the reason why I want to share it with you. But keep in mind, like, the reason why people want to buy your products is because, or buy your patterns, is because they like your design. So, but if you want to enhance the sales, then definitely listen to some of these tips that I have for you. Hopefully it will be useful and will help you in some way. But if you have any other tips that I haven't spoke of, definitely put them in the comment as well at the end of this video. But yeah, let's get started. So the first thing that I want to talk about is when you put a pattern into Etsy or into your own official shop or Shopify, you're going to have to fill in a lot of details. And the reason why I want to talk about this first is that some of the mistakes that some people do is that they don't put enough information about their listings. Okay, so I just thought that I'll open up one of my listings just to talk a little bit about what I meant by the details that you put into your listings, like your descriptions and your images and so forth. So I just opened up one of my Etsy listings. Everything that I'm going to tell you today really applies to your other e-commerce stores as well, but I just thought Etsy was just an easier platform because one, I did start with Etsy first when I started selling my digital patterns, but a lot of the things that I do with my Etsy, I apply to my other e-commerce stores as well. Firstly, the reason why I want to talk about the listing details and descriptions is because this contributes to your SEOs. And SEOs, if you haven't heard of that before, it stands for search engine optimization. And it really depends on the words that you use to describe your product and your items and the images that you use, because at the end of the day, when you're looking for a product, you would go to Google search and you type in, let's say, flower pattern, and you would hope that your product will be the first thing that pops up onto your Google searches. So SEOs is actually really important to help you increase your sales, and that's the reason why I put it as number one in terms of things that I wanted to really talk about to improve your sales. So here is my plant heads pattern bundle. So this is a digital pattern that I created, which has 4 different patterns within one pattern set. So with the first thing I'll talk about is your heading. So with your heading, there is actually a limit to how much you can type in for your heading, and usually with your heading you want to put in the most important information. So with this pattern, it is a plant heads pattern series and it is a digital pattern. Like, I always put that in caps lock just so that people are aware that it is a digital product and it's not a physical product. And I've just listed all the different flowers that people can make, because that is essentially what the pattern is. And so you want to try and be as detailed as possible in your heading. Also, just to keep in mind, you should always put the most important information at the front, because people sometimes don't just view your products on the computer, they also view your products on their phones as well. So usually you would probably read the first few words of a listing before you read the rest of it. So also keep that in mind when you are putting in the keywords for your headings. The next thing is your photographs. So on Etsy, you have 10 photo slots, and I definitely encourage everyone to use all 10 photo slots. This will definitely contribute to your SEOs and how people will search your product. because on Google, for example, you can also search a product via images as well. So you should definitely make the most of all the photo slots that you have for your listing. Usually for my digital products, I always have a cover page with the title of what the pattern is and also a montage of photos of my pattern. And then I will always have the PDF images of the pattern itself, just so that people know what they are getting. I do put those as a lower res, only because I don't want people stealing the pattern just by viewing the image. And then all the other photos are just high quality photos that I've taken with my phone or with my digital camera and edited in Lightroom. If you're interested on learning more about photo editing, I will definitely do a YouTube video about that. I did do photography for a while back in university when I was doing my architecture degree. So I think I have a few tips that I can share with you guys, but that can be in another video. But essentially what I'm trying to say is, for your photos, definitely make sure that you use all 10 photo slots, because that will definitely contribute to your SEOs and also will contribute to your sales as well. So the next thing in Etsy is that you can add videos, and I know in other e-commerce stores you can also do the same. If you have that option, definitely put a video in for your listing, for your pattern. The reason for this is, again, this will definitely contribute to your SEOs, but also it just adds a little bit more information and detail for your customers and your buyers. So with this video that I've put up, it was honestly just a video that I shot for a Instagram reel, and I just literally reposted it into here. So really quick and easy, really quick and dirty. But if you want to create something more extravagant, you can definitely go ahead and create something that is 5 to 15 seconds. I think, yes, 5 to 15 seconds long, but completely up to you. But it can honestly be a really quick and easy video of your make. So this is where you put in your title. So obviously you can see I still have 54 characters that can add to this. Honestly, I didn't feel like I needed to add any more details about this because I already feel like I have enough keywords. Maybe I would add extra text here. Let's say flower amigurumi, maybe. And obviously I will just save this once I finish editing. The next thing that I want to talk about is the occasion and celebration. And I used to leave this blank, and I didn't realize that this would affect how my listing or how my pattern will be found on Etsy. And so I try my best with all of my patterns to allocate it to a particular occasion and a particular celebration. So with the plant head series, I just thought, this could be a perfect birthday make, and it could be perfect for Mother's Day as well. So that's why I've put these down. But for your patterns, definitely try and choose a particular occasion or celebration, because again, this will contribute to your SEOs and how people find your product, and hopefully will help you with your sales. So description, this is so very important. Like I said before, people don't utilize this description box section enough. The reason why I want to put a lot of emphasis on this is that with your SEOs, people are also searching with really long keywords. So when I say long keywords, they are searching with long sentences, and you want to try, and even if your title doesn't have those particular words that they use in their searches, you would hope that your description would capture some of those words. So I always try and add a 3 to 4 sentence description about the pattern, about what occasion it suits for, how it will make someone feel, etc. If there's a story, definitely add a story about it. But I'll always have a little bit of an introduction at the beginning of every digital pattern, just to introduce the product a little bit, and hopefully it'll cover some of those long keywords that people would type in during their searches. I also, again, let people know that it is a downloadable crochet pattern, because at the end of the day, some people do accidentally buy the patterns instead of the physical toy, and there will always be that little mistake that people do. So I always put that in my description again. And another thing is, like, with your patterns, people don't know what's in your pattern until they purchase it. So this description box is really just to give them an indication of what exists in the pattern. So I always tell people what the language is. So my pattern is always in English and is always written in American terminology, the skill level. So this pattern, it's intermediate because there are a lot of parts. I always tell people how big the toy is once they complete it, if they use the materials that I've listed in the pattern. And again, I always tell people what I have used to make the pattern as well, and most importantly, to let people know that it has been tested as well. So your description box, you should try and put as much information in there as possible, just so that people know what the pattern has, and also it will affect and help you with your SEOs in terms of people finding your product. The next thing to really talk about is tags, and you should always use tags because, like I said before, tags can definitely contribute to your SEOs and help in terms of the search engine side of things. So in Etsy, it allows 13 tags that you can use, and you can see here I've used all of them. And previously, I didn't use all my tags, and I learned that I should really use them. So keep it concise. There is a word limit that you can use here. I think it's like a limit of 20 characters, I think. But try and be concise. Try and list all the keywords that relate to your pattern. And hopefully, people will be using those words as well when they are searching your item in Google or in Etsy. And hopefully, it will appear, and that your pattern will be the first one to pop up when they are searching for a particular product. Same goes for materials. I didn't use all 13 tags here only because this is a digital pattern and I don't want to confuse my customers, because if I start adding all the other materials, I'm worried that they may think that it's a physical toy. But again, that's completely up to you. You can definitely use all 12 tags, and that may actually help you with your SEOs as well. I'm not sure if this particular part actually helps with your SEOs. But if you know, definitely correct me in the comments. But for this particular listing, I've only just noted that it is a digital pattern. And that is it. So one thing is, the reason why I want to talk about this bit is because I didn't realize that how I described a product would impact how an item will be found in my store or online. And I only really realized this when I started using Marmalade. So Marmalade is actually a it's not free actually, it's actually under subscription as well. But I actually use Marmalade. I just send you guys there. So marmalade.com. So let me just log in. So I used Marmalade probably 6 months ago, and it definitely impacted my sales, I would say, only because, like I said in previous videos, it took a while for my products to really do well, and for my patterns to do well, only because I probably really rushed the process of describing my products. I was literally just listing them as I was producing the patterns and didn't put a lot of detail and attention to how I was describing my product online. So with Marmalade, it definitely helped me to realize what I was lacking in each of my listings on Etsy. And you can see here on their motto, better SEO, better sales. And honestly, I definitely believe that, because like I said before, when someone is trying to find a product, they'll go to Google and they will type certain keywords, certain words, and the system will have a lot of other products, thousands, millions of products that are floating online, and you would hope that whatever keyword people type in, that your product will have that keyword and it will pop up in their search. So I used Marmalade. I used the free version, which is only available for 1 month, unfortunately. So if I was to go into my listings, yes, I would have to upgrade to see all of them. So you can see here for my plant heads pattern bundle, I have a B minus. So I need to upgrade this to see what is lacking. But before,
I looked at this. I think the rating for this before was like a D, and then I made the changes that I talked about. I added all the tags, used all the photo slots, added long tail focus keywords into my description. So I made those changes and I came to a B minus. So I haven't fully mastered the SEOs yet, but I hopefully I will keep working on it, and then I will get a better idea of how to improve my SEOs for each of my listings on Etsy. And obviously I will apply that to my other e-commerce stores as well. So unfortunately, because I don't have the premium version, I can't really show you, but maybe later in the year when I do decide to purchase the premium version of Marmalade, I can probably give you a better idea of how this program works. But if you're interested, definitely go to marmalade.com to get an idea of how your listings are doing from an SEO perspective, because honestly, it will definitely help with your sales. Because you want people finding your product online, and if you are an e-commerce store, an online store, then this is something that you really have to think about and consider. So if I wanted to upgrade, yeah, so it will be around $19 per month, which I think is not too bad for a program like this. But like I said before, you do get 1 month free. So if you are interested, check it out. Have a play around with this app and see how it works for you. But I definitely used this app 6 months ago, and I honestly can say that my sales has gone up. Whether or not it's because people are finding me easier, and that probably is because I realized that people are actually going to my Etsy and my other website, my other e-commerce store a lot more. Probably because of the exposure on Instagram, but I definitely think SEO is definitely has contributed to the increased sales of my patterns as well.
You know, at the end of the day, you are competing with a lot of people and a lot of products, so it won't happen instantly, but it will help in the long run. So with your SEOs, you have to actually constantly update it and change it over time, just to make sure that people are still, you know, looking or Googling certain keywords just to find your product. So this is something that I may do a YouTube video about, but honestly I haven't mastered it yet, so I am still doing a little bit of research about SEOs. But once I do get to a point where I'm confident about my SEOs and my marketing, then I would definitely share that information with you. So the next strategy that I always use is pattern bundles. So if you have bought from me and have seen my store, I always sell pattern bundles. So with pattern bundles, you basically just collect a group of patterns and you create an ebook, and in that ebook it just has those multiple patterns. So the reason why I sell pattern bundles is because the price of those bundles are in a way are supposed to emphasize that they are cheaper if you buy a bundle compared to buying an individual pattern. So for example, if one pattern I sell is $5 and then I sell a bundle of 4 patterns for $15, that would mean that essentially is you buy 4 patterns but you get it for a price of 3 patterns, which is in a way a discount and a better offer than buying 4 individual patterns. And in most cases, when I do create my bundles, they do follow the same theme, and usually in most cases people, well, for myself at least, when I see a pattern that I like and it's within a bundle and I look at that bundle and there are patterns that I also like within that bundle, I will actually automatically go and purchase the bundle instead of buying that one individual and then coming back to the store and buying the other patterns individually, because in a way I would lose money, right? So that's the reason why I create bundles, because it does, you know, show that there is a little bit more value in that for your buyers. And honestly, people tend to be enticed by a particular bundle, but it also depends on what the theme is and what the design is as well. So the next strategy that I use is actually marketing my patterns on social media. So I heavily market my patterns on social media only because that is how I let my followers know, I let new followers know that there is a pattern coming or a pattern has been listed into my stores. And I've said this before, utilize your social media platforms because one, it is free, and two, you can get so much out of it. And so I promote all my patterns through all my social media as much as I can.
So I have my Instagram here opened, and I'm just going to show you what I meant by the insights, and also um, how I use those insights to give me an indication of how my sales are going to be for that particular pattern. And like I said before, I always post an image of my pattern prior to releasing the digital pattern, just to see how much interest there is, and also just to create a bit of hype for that particular design. So I'm just going to go through one example, and just to give you an idea of how insights relate to sales. And so I'm going to use Sunny, which is actually one of my best selling patterns that I have. And just to give you an insight of, what the insights are. So here you can see that I've got two images just to show a little bit more detail about Sunny. So where I want to take you is actually to the insights. So you can also do all of this on your phone, but I'm just doing it on the computer. So you can just click into view insights, and then this is where the numbers are really important. So the numbers that I always look at are the number of likes, the number of shares, and the number of saves, and also the number of counts reached. And so you can see for Sunny, it got over 16,000 likes, it got 1,600 shares, and it got over 5,000 saves, and also 257,000 people saw this post. And when I see these numbers, these are really positive numbers, and it gave me an indication that Sunny is going to sell really well, either as a physical toy or as a digital pattern. But Sunny actually sold really well as a digital pattern, only because majority of my followers, and I'm sure of this, majority of my followers are crocheters. So I knew from these numbers that there is a lot of interest in creating Sunny. So fast forward a few months, when did I post this? So this was posted in May, and it's October now. So June, July, August, September. So it's been 5 months. And within that 5 months, if I go to my Etsy and I just scroll down to quantity, I always put 1,000 available for my digital patterns, just so that I know how many is being sold, and 1,000 is a whole number. It just makes it really easy for me to calculate. But based on that, I can see that I can't really do maths. My maths is really bad. But I think 140 copies of Sunny, just Sunny the Sunflower, has been sold on Etsy. And this is only through Etsy. I also received a lot of sales through my own store as well. And when I add those numbers up, I would say it was close to 200 sales of Sunny the Sunflower within 5 months. And I think that's actually a pretty good number in terms of pattern sales. And this is how I'm trying, and this, in a way, I'm just trying to show the correlation between your insights versus your sales. And if your insights are doing great, then there is a high chance that your sales of your pattern is going to do really well as well. I guess maybe I should probably show you one that didn't do so well. So my Halloween ones are doing quite well. I guess maybe Benny. So Benny actually got quite a bit of engagement, and there was a lot of likes on this. But based on my Etsy sales of Benny and also my website, he actually didn't really do as well. And I guess when you compare the numbers in terms of the accounts reached and the impressions and how many likes and shares and saves compared to Sunny, you can see that it is expected that Benny won't do as well compared to Sunny. And from memory, I'm pretty sure Benny's only got like 5 sales compared to Sunny, who's received almost 200 sales. So this is where your Instagram insights can really be useful to you. So definitely make the most of it. And again, it is free. So what an easy way just to get an idea of how well a particular pattern may do before you even set it up onto your website or on your Etsy.
So the next strategy that I'm going to talk about is that you should always sell your patterns seasonally. So when I talk about the seasons, I'm essentially talking about the main holidays that you have within the year. So that's like Easter, Halloween that's coming up, Christmas that's coming soon as well, the Lunar New Year. So these are some of the holidays that you can start to think about and start to design your patterns around. So one example is that I recently designed my Halloween series back in August, and I started promoting that series back in August throughout September, and I'm still promoting it into October because Halloween hasn't started yet, but there is a lot of people, you know, deciding to make their Halloween toys and creating deco for their homes or creating gifts for friends and family. So I would always give at least 2 to 3 months time to promote, to hype up a certain pattern for a particular season. So now that it's October, I'm also even started to promote Christmas makes as well. I haven't really launched any Christmas presents, Christmas patterns just yet, but that will come. But essentially what I'm trying to say is you should always think about the seasons and sell your products based on the seasonal aspects within the calendar. And with that in mind, every time I do launch a new pattern, whether it's a seasonal one or a completely different new one, I will always run a sale to promote it even more. And that actually leads into my next strategy, which is creating sales. And sales is a no-brainer. It is literally the quickest way and the easiest way to increase your revenue, even though you are selling your patterns at a discount, but there is that higher traffic of people who are actually willing to purchase your pattern because it is on sale. So like I said before, I always run a sale when there is a new pattern that I'm launching. So whenever I launch a new pattern, I will always run a sale for a week. I will run a sale when it's my birthday or when it is when I reach a milestone in my social media or in my sales numbers. So always run a sale to help in a way to increase your revenue and increase your sales as well. But yeah, that is actually all the tips that I have in terms of how to create successful pattern sales on your Etsy store or e-commerce store. I know with today's conversation I talked more related to Etsy, but honestly you can apply a lot of these things to your other e-commerce stores, like your Shopify or your own official shop that you create through Wix or Squarespace or something like that. But I hope this video has been useful to you. If you have any questions, definitely leave a comment below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But otherwise, if you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you've been enjoying the content so far and you would like to know more. But yeah, I hope everyone has a great day and I'll see you all again soon. Bye!